My reason for being on YouTube was always to inspire girls like me. Gone through my greatest fear, and I did not know how to come and share it. My dream job became a nightmare. The path of your dreams will not look like what you thought. Top of the mornings. Welcome back to my channel. First of all, Mike's is on. Mike's is definitely on. Welcome back, baby girl. If this is the only video I ever create for the rest of my life, this is going to be the most important video I do, and I want to give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I was in therapy last week, and I was talking to my therapist, and I told her I have become one of those YouTubers that I don't like, and I can't continue showing up like that, because I don't believe that I'm being honest with them, and I know they know. I know you know what this is about, but it's time for me to share my side of the story, to rip the band-aid off, to just address the elephant in the room, because I know you people know, and you have been so kind to me that you have let me go through this without being in my DM like, sis, what happened with this? What happened with that? You have allowed me to go through the grieving process. You've allowed me to go through the change gracefully. And now I feel like I'm on the other side, and I want to be able to share this with you so that I can move forward being authentic and being honest. I've always thought, no shade, I've always thought that the YouTubers who are open about sharing family life, relationship life, if it comes to a point where the dynamic changes, I think you owe your audience an explanation. Not because they deserve to be in your life, but because you chose to show them that side of your life. To go invested, we're in season 10. You need to at least offer perspective. So that's exactly why I'm here today, to share my own perspective about something that I very openly shared with you guys for all these years I've been on YouTube. My username, as you guys know, is the corporate chick. So I have been very intentional about sharing my career life, my job, and my self-development journey. And this is just the next step of my self-development journey. And it's been very hard for me, gone through my greatest fear, and I did not know how to come and share it in a way that would be meaningful, because I have experienced so much anger, so much bitterness. And I know even when I created that video about anger is a valid emotion, that was the start of everything. And I think I was able to just come out very articulate on that video and share what I was going through, because at that point I was very angry and I needed that to be out there, So right now I'm on the other side of anger, of fear, of all the emotions that I needed to experience. And I think this is the right time to now come and say, honestly, there's so many times I've written it down on my notebook of how I want to make this video, but it's kind of not penned out. Like, I don't know what the start or where the start of this story is, but I just want to give my side of the story. Sometimes, yes, your side of the story doesn't matter. If people meant to judge you, if people meant to treat you like that, they'll treat you like that. But it's very important for me to share this, because I know this story might touch one person out there, and if one person hears this and is inspired by this, then I have done my work here. My reason for being on YouTube was always to inspire girls like me, so that they know that all their dreams are achievable. Everything that they want is out there, and they can get it themselves. This is my calling, and I believe God led me to that place, because I was supposed to be exactly here, and I was supposed to inspire a girl out there to know that dreams come true. Dreams come true, but sometimes the following the path of your dreams will not look like what you thought at all. In fact, it'll be the hardest thing you have to do, but you have to do it still. So I always wanted to be a blueprint, and I think I have tried my level best to be that blueprint, and I don't want to stop because of fear. And I think right now, being on the other side of fear, yes, fear will never go away. You just have to do things afraid. You just have to carry the fear with you, and you have to be louder than your fears. Fear doesn't go away. Fear only goes away with action. So you have to take action in spite and despite of the fear. So what I came here to say is that I quit my dream job. I quit my dream job. I had to leave. And I believe I didn't have a choice. And some people usually find it easy to leave a job, and I wish I was those people that you can just hop from one, workplace to another, one role to another. That's the best way. That actually makes you grow faster. You have a better chance of growing, moving from one company to another than staying in one company like for a long time. You actually earn better. And for me, my goal has always been earning and learning. So it's either at one point you're earning and you're not learning, or you're learning and not earning, but under no circumstances can you be not earning and not learning. So it came to a place where I had plateaued and I had to leave. And it was the scariest thing. I had sleepless nights because of it. And I'm going to take you step by step of how this happened, because I know all of you know that was my dream job. And I believed so much that was my dream job. My dream job became a nightmare, and I had to choose myself. I've beat around the bush so many times. You guys saw Vlogtober, you saw Vlogmas, and I heavily hinted on these things. If you didn't get that line of thought, I don't know, maybe now you'll go back and watch and you'll see what I was saying all along. But I wanted to come and actually offer perspective and share my side of the story, like I've said, or so to say. And I want to do it while doing my makeup, because I have to step out and go and meet my best friend. Finished going through it, but I feel like the anger, I'm beside the anger now. I'm not gonna come and now start bashing my former workmates or whatever, but itaenda tu venye itaenda. Even me, I don't know what will come off this video, but we'll see how it goes. I really hope it's not too long, but I hope it's going to be meaningful, and I hope it touches one person out there. So I'm gonna start doing my makeup. Let me just pin you guys over here so that we can talk while I work, right? Okay. So guys, I think the best is we maintain this position, because I've tried filming over there and it's just not giving. It's a bit dark. It's comfortable for me to sit there, but we have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, which is the basis of this whole story. I had to ask myself some serious questions. That, is this it? Is this really it? And the one thing that we can be certain of in life is none of us is coming out of this alive. And I believe I had been sold or convinced that is the best that I can do. Like, there was a lot of work that was put into me believing, and no shade, but that job was very good. That was a very good job, and I got to travel so much. I got to see a lot of Kenyan destinations, and that has really helped me into Marie 3.0. This, what you guys are seeing now, is Marie 3.0, Marie 2.0, and she was amazing. And I have to thank her so much, because she's the one who has carried me to Marie 3.0. It all started when I finished my master's degree last year. You guys know I graduated from Strathmore University, and I graduated with honors. I did my master's in strategic management because I knew that at some point in my future I wanted to be a CEO. I wanted to start a company. I wanted to be my own boss, because for me the dream was never to work for somebody else forever. I can say that I had a good employer up to a certain point, but for me it started becoming toxic when my growth became pegged to, I don't even know what my growth was pegged to, but for me, what I always believe, that if the company is growing, I also should be growing with the company. What I was being paid for me, I don't think that was a fair compensation with the level that I had been able to carry the company, because for such a long time I was the only employee, and a lot of people within the industry always thought I was the owner of the company. That's because of how I showed up for the company. This is not to blow my own trumpet or anything. This is facts. You can ask anybody who is in the industry, and we interacted. Like, I was I used to go so hard for the company, and I know even it showed on Instagram. Like, I would post all about it, I would talk about it, not because that I was also being paid to be a social media sijui person for the company. It's just I was just so happy with the work that we were doing. I was so happy with the work that we were doing that it just came naturally for me to want to talk about it, to want to show it, to and it involved traveling. I love traveling so much. So for me, it was just this is what I like. I believe God led me to this path because He knew what was gonna come next. I went to when my undergrad was in finance, and then I also did CPA. So I was an accountant before I got into this industry, and for a long time, my parents were so upset. They didn't understand what I'm doing, and if your parents understand what you're doing, I think you need to reevaluate. Your parents need to be as confused about your career, because if you just do what like your parents want you to do, you'll be just fulfilling their own dreams. Make sure you don't get stuck in fulfilling your parents' dream that you forget about your own dreams. For me, my dream was always to be my own boss, the corporate chick. That's what it was all about, the corporate chick. And for a long time, I was really confused, especially after I got into tourism, because it was no longer a 9 to 5. And by the time I started the brand of the corporate chick, I was working a 9 to 5, and it was just clear cut that this is corporate life and nini nini. But corporate life changes as you grow older. It needs to change as you grow older. And for me, I always thought that. And even when I interviewed for that position, this was in 2022, I believe. Yes, 2022. Like the goal was always that when the company grows, I would lead the East African team. And of course, if you're leading a team, you need to be paid well. Leading a team is the hardest thing that you can do. For me, my thing has always been you earn, you learn, you're either doing one or you're doing both, but under no circumstances are you doing none of the above. And it got to a point where my employer told me they cannot pay me any more than they're paying me, that I should actually even go and I told one of my friends this story, and she was so shocked, because they asked me, do you think so and so gets paid this by the brand that she works for? And when I spoke to her, she told me she was being paid so much money. Like, mine was because even when I did research like online about people in that role, it was more. And even when I came and did the presentation asking for a raise, like mi niliambiwa the most enye tunaweza kuongezea ni 2000, and I was shocked. My life revolved around work. I didn't even have time to be in a relationship. I didn't have time to hang out with my friends. I didn't have time to see my parents. I didn't even have enough time to work on myself. And the most that they were willing to even add me was 2000 bob. And for me, niliona tu mnanidharawingi sana. Like now, and even another reason they told me hawezi niongezea mshahara ni kwa sababu, why should they add my salary when now I have two people who are working under me who are doing the same job as me? So now, yes, I'm leading a team, but I don't deserve to be paid more because there's other people who are assisting me in the role. That was crazy to me. That was really crazy to me. And for a long time, I was very pissed off about that sort of reasoning, because I had to kind of tell these people what to do. Okay, you need to do this. I actually, not only did I have to train them, I hired them. I put up a post on LinkedIn. I sourced for these candidates. I went through the whole scrutinizing CVs, nini, not because it was part of my role, but just because I have a minor in human resource, and I was like, oh, teacher, me, I can do it. Yeah, I was so enthusiastic, by the way, in my role. I loved my job so much, and it slowly started becoming a nightmare, because it's like what I used to do out of like wanting to like do more now became required. Another thing is, my contract did not change. I know even in the Kenya labor laws, people are like, your salary is meant to grow to a certain percentage every year, because even bills, even vitu zinaenda zikikuwa expensive to a certain percentage, even lodges wanaongeza at least 5-10% every year on their rates, because things keep on changing every year. So me with the same salary of 2024, ndio na try kusurvive nayo in 2023, even ndio na try kusurvive nayo in 2025, it did not make any sense because I was doing a lot more than I was doing, and it really broke me down when I could not complete my final school fees at Strathmore. Yani, I was just like, so all this for what? All this for what, really? It was just so disheartening to me. And when I shared this and nikaambua the most naweza patiwa ni 2,000, yani, I just knew that I have to change. I have to, you know, find something better to do, or at least have to find a side hustle, at least even a side hustle tu peke yake, because I was not going to be able to survive with that salary I was getting. And it even got worse because, you know, my brother also joined the company, and now sasa Kenya yeye alikuwa nalipwa was crazy, and he had to be there even more hours than I had, and it was tougher for me to watch my brother struggle like that, to struggle to make rent, struggle for all these things, and then the way alikuwa anatreatiwa na his immediate supervisor. It was terrible how that person was treating my brother, and it was harder for me to watch, and seeing how they were treating my brother ilikuwa like one of the last straws. I couldn't do it anymore. And even I was not even appealing only for my brother, I was even appealing for the person who was working under me, and go like, hey guys, just please ongezea watoto pesa kidogo, because the amount of work they're doing, the early mornings we have to go to airport, especially during peak season, like it's like they will need a bit more money to be added to their nini. And mi nilikuwa naangaliwa like the audacity of you to come and tell us to pay people what they deserve, the audacity, you know. And I think even for them, they knew that was the beginning of the end from their side for me, because sasa nilikuwa nimeanza kumea pembe, or so they would say. So the nimeshinda kwa the beginning of the end so much. I need to get to the next part of the story. The next part of the story is during my birthday. So something happened during my birthday that made me realize that this is definitely not going, I was definitely not gonna work there. Even for this year, I was so keen that this year haitanipata nikiwork hapo, kwa sababu ilifika point I googled the difference between servitude and slavery. Hear me out. Like, I know some of you will look at this story and I'm entitled, I'm anything, but that's your prerogative. You do what you think. But for me, as in, anyway, so now we are in September, and I took leave that year from last year for my birthday. I didn't go anywhere as per the usual. Usually I travel for my birthday, and last year nilikuwa tu like I need to kind of double down and think about my future, and that's when I decided to start a company. And actually I wasn't interested in doing something that was directly competing with what I was doing at that point, but I was very keen to make sure that I don't have a competition, non-compete clause in my contract. I'm smart. I might be slow sometimes, but I'm smart. And I was just so afraid to talk about my side of the story, kwa sababu walikuwa wameniambia, unajua ukiongea side yako ya story, we are going to ruin your name, nini. But you know what? I didn't even say my side of the story, but they already went and muddied the waters. They went and made sure that it would be so hard for me to start my own company. Anyway, during my birthday, I took leave, and I wanted to think about what I'm gonna do next with my career. And nika decide, okay, I'm gonna start a company. My company will be doing this and that. My company will be called this and that. And I started doing the website. This is before I have quit. And a lesson for that is that always make sure that you think about what comes next before you quit any job. Always at least have 6 months of runway, because it can be tough to survive on the other side of leaving a job. It's not the easiest thing. You still have to pay rent, you still have to eat, you still have to take care of yourself, so you need some runway. So mi nilikuwa nimesema nitaka at least mpaka December at least nipate ka runway. So we're in September, and then I've taken 1 week of leave. Ilikuanga shida hata nikitake leave, like na take leave yani nakasirikiwa. It's like I don't deserve to take a break after umework kama punda. That's when even nilianza kugoogle mambo ya slavery and servitude. Like, my God, So niko kwa hiyo wiki yangu ya birthday, and then somebody like tells me I actually have to come in and do a certain call because the client has personally requested for me and nini nini nini. Na mi nikasema I'm on leave right now, but I can come back on Monday and do it. Ilileta shida, I'm telling you, ilileta shida sana. As in, namwambia I already had planned out my week, this and that, na nilikuwa nimesha communicate in advance that I'm taking leave nini nini. So for you to come and now tell me what I'm supposed to be, and on a Saturday, by the way, it's on a Saturday, and nilikuwa like, first of all, I'm not even supposed to be working on a Saturday evening. If I have to work on Saturday, it's half day, and it's not Saturday jioni, and first of all, niko leave. And then this person had the audacity to tell me that, actually not to ask me, kwani what are you doing? It's like now, even I have to inform my employer what I do on weekends. Me really feel that was kind of coming on the other side of my boundaries, but it was not strange for them to come on the other side of my boundaries because I had allowed it for so long. I had allowed like them to call upon me to do things even in weird hours of the day, in like days that I'm not supposed to work. It was just okay for them to just, so you just fanya this, and not for any extra overtime pay or whatever. It was just, you should be happy you have this job. This is the best job you're ever going to get. You cannot do better than that. Yeah, that's what they thought. I cannot get better than that. And it was said so many times that even me, I believed I can't do better than that. You get? I honestly believe that, as in, hata sijui kwa nini, but I kind of believed it because it was an enjoyable job and it was something that I didn't think I would do because my background was in accounting and nini nini. So yeah, so venye hiyo situation ili play out on that day, on that Saturday, hapo nilijua tu this is not going to last long. I don't think I can even be here till September. And mind you, I'd already drafted my resignation letter in August. So nilikuwa tu nangoja tu ifike the end, but I was still afraid that how will I end this? Like how, like saa mi nita end aje my dream job, like on my, hey, it was just crazy. It was just crazy, but it had gone above and beyond. And I had allowed it for so long that sasa when I started staying firm on my boundaries, it shocked them. It shocked them that mbona ame change, And honestly, unajua why I had changed, because I had been in therapy, and my therapist was always like, you don't have to overextend yourself. This is just a job. You need to have a life outside the job. I didn't have a life outside. What's a life outside the job? What is that? And so ilikuwa vitu kidogo kaa hizo zilipile up. It was, I don't know if we can say those were paper cuts, because to a certain extent hizo hazikuwa vitu ndogo, and those are things that I wouldn't even tell you to tolerate that. Other than that, there was a lot of office politics that were also going on at the time. I was being sidelined from projects. After I had asked for a raise, wakaanza kuni sideline from projects nini, and even nilikuwa nimewambia the role has changed so much that initially it was work from home. Nilikuwa naweza kusustain livelihood yangu vizuri, sababu the money ningetumia ku get to a job every day, at least I'm using it to do other things. But now you require me to come to an office, at least you should consider kuniongeza hata kwa pesa kidogo, because now I have to get lunch every day outside and use transport every day. So at least mkue tu fair na mniongezea hata hiyo peke yake. It was still unacceptable. I was now working for two companies and not the one company I was working for, but they wanted to just kind of put a blanket on it, and they say, see, these companies are partners, but these roles I'm doing for this other company are not in my job description. In fact, can you guys even give me a new contract? I was pushing so much nipatiwe a new contract, but they knew giving me a new contract will, how I will definitely bring up the clause of nini increasing my salary, and they were not willing to look at that at all. They were not willing to look at that at all. So walikuwa tu like, first of all, what you're doing, anybody can do that job. Why are you thinking you're so special? Anybody anaweza fanya hiyo kazi yako. In fact, you're nothing. What do you mean? Kasema noma sana, then you should probably just get somebody else to do it. Something about traveling that gives you so much perspective. Coming back from Mara, I had decided I can't just go back. Na since wamesema hawezi hata niongezea pesa ya fare, mi already nilikuwa siendagi office at daily, nilikuwa I'll go every other day. We'll have to split his stress because mi sitatumia pesa yangu kila siku na nyinyi amko willing kuniongezea mshahara. So I will come to the office Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll work from home. And I told this to my boss and he was okay with it. Ako like, you know what? Yeah, that's acceptable to me. But now wakaanza kuona ni kama nakuwa kichwa ngumu by actually following through with what I had said I will do. What men will do is they'll pit girls against each other, and always girls will take the bait. Girls will take the bait. It's like now they promoted the person who I was supervising to be my senior. It's like I was demoted because sikuwa nasikiza. And mi nilikuwa tu like, you know what, it's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just work to the limit that you're paying me. I'll not now, like mi nilisema, I'll follow my job description to the letter. You don't want to pay me more, then I'll just do what is on my job description. Sawa, sawa. And like when you start treating people the way they are treating you, they're never okay with it. Never okay with it. So that, of course, started the whole culmination that led to the end that was me quitting the job, my contract not being honored, and everything that followed. So when I came back from Mara, we had a sit down and I left. That's how I left. Now let's talk about what happened after I left. I remember the last meeting, kwanza kulikuwa na meeting yenye tulikaa, and I remember that meeting was at CJ's, and I have recently gone back to that CJ's, and hata sikuwa nakumbuka that was where everything, you know how ended. I usually say go and laugh in places where you cried. Like that was exactly that. The next thing was the handover day, and when I tell you, that's when I saw the true colors of my former boss. Na nilikuwa tu najua hiyo meeting itaenda vibaya, and I didn't even have the confidence to go and sit at that meeting on my own. So me being who I am, I called my best friend. One of my best friends, simnamjua George. I always talk about George all the time in this podcast. So I told George, I don't think I'll be able to go to this meeting alone. I'll need you to go with me to this meeting. And he was kind enough to go with me to that meeting. Na nakwambia venye nilishautiwa kwa hiyo meeting. Like kwa CJs, they were just calm and proper and everything. But kwa ofisi, that's when the true colors came. It was just chaos. It was just chaos completely. And hapo ndio niliona I was right to do what I did. Like everything just made sense to me. And I have struggled with everything that was said on that day so much. My bro also decided he's gonna quit. And for him, his reasons for quitting were different. I think quitting because of me was just the least of, you know, the reasons. It was a reason, yes, but it was the last reason. So a few weeks later, nasikia an email has been put out to the tourism industry that Maria Akanga and Mandela Akanga are no longer nini. They didn't copy me in that email, but I have many friends in the industry that came and told me that this email has been put out nini. And I was just like, that was so shady. They could have just put me alone because mimi nilikuwa na actual beef with the company. But them, they had no reason of treating my brother that way because my brother just worked there for what? I think 7, 8, 9 months hapo, less than a year alikuwa amewaka hapo, and it was not the same thing. But for them to put my name and my brother's name, and they can see that we have the same last names hapo, it appeared like ilikuwa we had just like maybe embezzled something, tulikuwa tumecommit some fraud, or it just ilikuwa inaka so sinister, even how that email was put out. I don't have that email. I would have shown you guys, but it seemed so sinister, and he just wanted to muddy the waters as much as possible to make it difficult for me to continue working within the tourism industry. Mami, like hiyo kitu ilini break down sana. I cried, but I just had to wake up and continue even despite that, because mi nilikuwa najua I want to own a company within the tourism industry. Even if I ever go back to accounting, I always said at least I have to leave my mark within the tourism industry. It's still something that I hold true even now. So now on the other side of, I was not even on the other side, I was now going through my biggest fear, and my biggest fear was the loss of income. That sasa I'm not earning anymore like iyo mwezi, and that iyo company sasa I had always hoped to live under good terms, but like the way I left was not under good terms. And ilikuwa tu like there was a lot of guilt that I felt regarding that situation, and I couldn't even talk about it. And I think even that's why I worked so hard to kind of conceal what was going on at your time. But mi nilisema tu, it's like I just have to keep going. Sasa naweza fanya nini? Like I can't sit there and cry forever, you know. I just have to find a way to move forward. So that's when sasa nikaanza tu kupitch myself. I went to the tourism expo in October. You know, I just tried to find ways of marketing because marketing is so expensive. Kufanya hizo ma SEM, SEO marketing, it's not cheap. So I had to start from where I can, and I've tried my best like to really even be the place that I am today. So last year I at least got a few clients from here and there, kidogo kidogo, and I was able to at least even manage myself, pay my bills and all that. And my parents were heavily behind me. Like I represent an entire generation. Like my dad was was in meetings talking about my business, talking about how successful I am. So yo, Mimi, I'm really trying so hard to even just keep myself together from breaking down. But at the same time, remember, I was still in therapy. And even the beginning of this whole revolution of me knowing what I deserve all started in therapy. Because you see, mi nilikuwa nimeshinda niki-accept hizi vitu. I was an active participant in breaking my own heart because I allowed them to continue with what they were doing for all those years. I was accepting the bare minimum for all those years. I was working up to 13, 14 hours a day to be able to sustain the job and for very little pay. I was very complicit in everything that happened. So I'm not innocent in this. And even outside of that, I was not always right. I still also made mistakes. Sometimes I reacted out of anger to some situations I shouldn't have reacted at all. There was also things that I did wrong. But you know what? And let me tell you, when I used to make mistakes at that job, yani nilikuwa napigiwa kelele. Yani nilikuwa natritiwa ni kama sijui nini. You know, but when I do even one right thing, it was not recognized. Na ilifika saa mahali penye it was just mistakes peke yake. When I do just even a good thing, you know, that's you're normal. Yeah. So anyway, that's how that went. And maybe it's not a valid reason to you, but me, those were very valid concerns to me that led to me going. And I felt I had been so loyal, but when it came a time for them to be loyal to me and to compensate me fairly, they were not willing to do that. And they would rather kick me out than actually all I was asking for was around 10-15K increment. And that was something like they could afford. That is something they could afford because after peak season, if you calculate how much owners get during peak season, utakuwa so surprised, you know. Now that I'm an owner, I know that. So, as in, now imefika December, and I decided maybe I should take a little break and just reward myself. This was the first vacation that I took that is not like I don't have to like work through the vacation ama nini kitu kaa hiyo. And you guys saw me in Diani, and I did a lot of good work in Diani, and from the work that I did in Diani, I was able to even get some more clients, especially on TikTok. My videos went viral on TikTok, and I really appreciate everybody that has supported me business-wise through TikTok or just through sending me clients or referrals and things like that. Right now, my business has been growing because of word of mouth, because I've put myself out there here on YouTube and here, and even what my therapist told me, like nilikuwa nashindwa sasa nitakuja niseme aje hii story because I'm just afraid that people will still judge me. But you know what, you guys, like if you want to judge me, you'll still even judge me anyway. Whether I say something, whether I don't say something, I'll still be judged. So I'll just have to come and say what I say. And what I'm hoping is that through my story, like you people will see how much I need clients, and you'll speak my name out there in rooms that I'm not in. Maybe in your university, if it's exchange students who are coming and they need itineraries and things like that, you'll speak my name out there, and through that I'll get clients. Or you'll have your family who wants to go in certain places, and through that you'll give me bookings. I don't know, that's what I'm hoping for from saying this story. Anyway, December, sinikafanya hiyo vacation nikamaliza. My biggest fear was now coming to January, because I knew sasa I have to start making like proper sales in January, because it's a new year. I've started this new company. I need to start moving forward. And you know what? I didn't even make a single sale in January. I didn't make a single sale in January. And like hapo sasa, my fears were just coming alive. Like hapo sasa nilikuwa naona I was wrong to have left. Like maybe I should have stayed. Like nilikuwa fala for even thinking I'll succeed outside of employment. Like sasa my imposter syndrome ili come alive kabisa. Like I used to show up every day and act like it doesn't bother me and act like I'm okay, but I was paddling really hard huku chini ya maji. I was that dark, you know. Yani nilikuwa nang'ang'ana sana to hold myself together. Yani nilikuwa nang'ang'ana sana. January yo first week, second week, nini. I think even the thing yenye ilini keep together for that whole month is just waking up and knowing I have to go to the gym. I have something to do. At least niko na gym, naeza enda. You know what? And I'm so glad at that point, me and my brother had moved in with me. So that at least he doesn't have so many bills. So at least my brother was living with me. So I was cooking every day. So that means I was eating. Me, the first thing that I do when I'm depressed is I stop eating. I stop eating kabisa. But now that my brother was around, at least I had to cook because he has to eat. So that's the only reason, by the way, nilikuwa tu na keep my shit together. So January ndo hiyo nang'ang'ana. I was even really like struggling in my relationship, because I think every time tu nilikuwa nashinda nikiambia chali yangu venye, you know, business iko huku, like pesa sijui nini, and God bless that man because he really held me down here. Like I think he met me during the worst period of my life, because all my insecurities zilikuwa up, everything was just all over the place, but mimi ukiniangalia I was just put together. Mi nilikuwa tu sawa, but the emotions inside zilikuwa tu mbaya. I still had therapy, so at least therapy was also keeping me together. I was trying so much to journal, and recently I have gone back and looked at my journal prompts zenye nilikuanga nafanya kitambo. I was so anxious while I was working where I was working before. Like kila siku nilikuwa naamka at 6 a.m. nimeshapigiwa kelele. 6 a.m. on a Monday nimeshapigiwa kelele, nimesha jam. I already feel like, you know what? I don't even know why I do this. You know, like nilikuwa hadi nimefika point yenye na compare being in that job and now sasa being outside. It's just the same level of anxiety, and to a certain extent mi nilikuwa na feel hii anxiety yenye I at least I have to rely on myself, na rely on people who are treating me like trash. I'd rather just live in survival but on my own terms, you know. I'd rather, like, instead of living on my knees, I would rather stand tall, because I had lived on my knees for so long. And don't get me wrong, it was not always bad. By the way, that dream job was still my dream job for such a long time. It just slowly started becoming a nightmare. And I'm saying that I was complicit in making it a nightmare. Feb sasa, I had, and another thing that like ilikuwa inanitrigger sana, ni kwa sababu like a lot of players in the industry nimekwambia, they used to think that I'm the owner of that company, so people would still call me, is this so and so company? Like najiput together tu naongea kwa hiyo call, nasema no, it's not this nini, maybe you should call so and so and so. Nikimaliza hiyo call nasikia tu you know. And I wasn't at dumb enough to think that the company will stop because now mimi nime exit, but like to a certain extent sasa nikaanza kubelieve them, they are doing well, na mimi sasa I'm still failing, so they must have been right. They must have been right, because my company's progress was very, at that point, even non-existent. Fabi kakuja, a client aka reach out to me. Client aka reach out to me na akaniambia I want this Masai Mara package nini, na nikampatia package. At that point mimi ndio, well, not even at that point, even until now, the everything of the company, social media manager, founder, mimi ndio nafanya quotes, mimi ndio nafanya execution, mimi ndio nafanya reservations, mimi ndio nafanya everything. And I know for a great extent of time it will be me who's doing everything in the company, and I'm happy to do it. I'm very happy to do it because Like I've always said, I believe I was put on this earth to do this. And I was lucky enough that when I started my job, I started doing sales. Nikatoka kwa sales, nikaenda ops, nikaenda nini, nikafanya nini, like I went through all the roles. Yani I did all the roles within that company such that I'm able now to start my own company. Mind you, that company at some point ili collapse na ikaanza tena, and I was there for that. Ili collapse, it used to have a different name. If you guys remember, it had a different name, and then it changed to another name, and I was there for that, and I saw it start from scratch. So I knew exactly what it takes to start a company in this industry. And I started there, and when I got that first client, I took it and I ran with it. Nilikuwa po, do you need some changes? Do you need this? Like, I was there for that, everything. And you know, sometimes it takes a bit of time to, especially within industry yetu, you know, travel is a luxury. It's not really a necessity. It takes time for somebody to make up their mind kama wanataka kwenda mahali ama hawataki. So, that particular client took a bit of a longer time to close. Hiyo kitu ilikuwa inanipea anxiety sana, sababu mimi nilikuwa naona like I have to close by all means necessary. Umse ajui rent hapo ndio inatoka, like mbona it takes such a long time. I'm relying on this sale, and the way I was showing up was not the best way to show up, because that's even putting pressure on the client, and you can't now live like that. So this is now beginning of Feb. Nikapigia my mom na nikamwambia, mom, like me, I don't think I'm showing up well kwa hii business. I need to change how I am showing up. So at that point, sasa si nimeambia mother, like I'm coming on so strong kwa clients hadi na feel like, as in hata clients wana notice how desperate I am to close a sale. Na like I even broke down during your call kwa sababu niliambia madhe, the reason why I'm feeling so much pressure na hii kitu ni kwa sababu najua if I don't close this sale, I don't make rent. And I think imefika point yenye I need to, like I still had money in my savings, but pia savings ujua zikuwa zinaenda zikidecrease, na mimi nilikuwa nasema staki zifike zero, alafu sasa ndio hapo ndio ni realize, okay, maybe now I have to move back home. It got to a point I had to surrender na ni accept sasa nimelemewa. I need you guys to bail me out kwa sababu sasa nimeanza kufika ile point yenye I'm not gonna be able to save myself. Na hiyo point nikasema, you know what, I think itabidi tu nirudi kuishi home. Acha tu mimi nirudi kuishi home, ndio at least hapo sasa nitajua sina stress ya rent na naweza show up for my business in a proper way, sababu i rent ndio kitu yenye nani stress. Paying my bills was the thing ilikuwa nani stress most. So, and even up to now, I'm not saying that niko fully on the other side. It's still something that stresses me out the most. You know, how will the bills the next month be paid, nini? So, my mama akaniambia, you don't have to worry, like we hata ukitaka kurudi home, room yako bado iko, you know, you just come back home if that's what you need to come back. We'll be here for you, we'll support you. Na si ati, you know, ati kuna any other people wenye wanaishi home, it will be just me and you. My mom was so encouraging at that point. Alikuwa like, we'll just go back to our life, you know, we'll be cooking, we'll be doing this and that. God bless my mom so much. Na alikuwa ananiambia tu hivyo, yani nilikuwa tu nalia namwambia tu, yani mama, unajua mimi najua, like I've always thought moving back home is just like nimefail nini. So ananiambia, no, usifikirie hivyo, like moving back home doesn't mean you've failed. And I want to tell somebody out there, moving back home doesn't mean you've failed. Even if next month I'll have to move back home, it doesn't mean I have failed. Or if I have failed in your eyes, that's in your eyes. For me, I had two options at that point. It's either to quit my company and now start looking for a job, or to move back home and continue building this company and at least not have the stress, bills. And for me, that kurudi back home, that was the lesser evil for me, because I have decided I am not going to be looking for a job, at least not at this point. Mpaka maybe company yangu igrow na I can hire somebody to be doing sales for me, and me I can go off and maybe find another role, because I always wanted to leave something in the tourism industry. But I'm not giving up my company. that hiyo ni kitu nilisha make peace nayo. It doesn't matter how long the process takes, how slow it will be. I'm going to be here every step of the, I'm not quitting building my company. If I have to move back home, I'm okay with that. So hiyo day ilifika tu hiyo moment nilisurrender tu kabisa na nikasema if that's what it needs to be, that's what it needs to be. Nitapeana notice. And I remember I can even show you guys a message. Nilitext the property managers of this building na nikawambia okay, nilikuwa nataka kupeana notice, how do I go about that? Wakaniambia you know, you need to write an email blah 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 to this and that. So nikasema sawa. So I have all the information. Then my mom calls me again na akasema you know what, hata usipeane hiyo notice kwanza, we'll pay your rent. How much unalipanga rent nini per month? Nikamwambia, and even my dad walikuwa tu like we'll pay for you rent, we can see how much you want to do this business, so we'll support you until when you can be able to support yourself again. As in hiyo kitu like nakumbukaga, like nasikia tu like as in literally God gave me the best parents, like as in ilikuwa tu like a turning point for me, because nilikuwa tu like I'm not alone, because I was really scared that I was doing it alone, because unajua kukua like na job, it's easy because even if you don't do anything the whole month, I'm reading my makeup, boy. Even if you don't do anything the whole month, at least at the end of the month unajua kutakuwa na salary. So it's easy like that. But running your own company, if you don't work, you don't eat. Literally, if you don't work, you don't eat. But my parents told me hautailala njaa hata siku moja. If we need to pay for you rent, kama unataka pesa ya gym, kama unataka nini, because I told them I just need two things. I need my rent and I need to go to the gym, because if I don't go to the gym, I'll be depressed. And I can't go back to depression again. Yeah. So as in, there was a time like in the past I used to be depressed. Nah, like I remember how that was. So I never want to be depressed again. Hold that thought, guys. So sorry. I can't go back to being depressed again. I've worked so hard to keep myself together. So could go back to depression, that's really not my portion. So I had to continue going to therapy, going to the gym, and being able to afford my rent. So hiyo Feb, huyo client aka close, akafanya their first, like the first payment now to my company Trailmax Expeditions. Nilikuwa nimefungua bank account nini, nikaona hiyo payment. And actually even before your payment, I was still, at that point I was still planning the baby girl retreat. Nilikuwa na try to reach out to people, because it was so hard for me to advertise it and to show up on camera and say, guys, I really need you to come through for this baby girl retreat, because actually I am really relying on this. And I remember the first person mwenye aliwahi lipa kwa account yangu ni Val. You guys will see Val kwa the next, I don't know kai video itakuja before or after, I'm not really sure. Val was the first person who ever paid money to Trailmax Expeditions. And I remember seeing it na niko tu like, this girl doesn't even know. She doesn't even know what this means to me. All of you girls mwenye mulikuja baby girl retreat, like you don't know. You don't know how much it meant to me that mliko hapo. And I told you guys this tukiwa Naivasha. I told you guys how much I'd struggled to bring the company up to that point. I really had struggled so much. And like they were among the first people to believe in my vision. So like it means so much to me. And I even told them the baby girl retreat was never about making money for me. It was just something I needed to do, because I had been planning it even from since before I had quit my job. I just knew I have to do one thing for sure. I have to make that trip happen, because one of the key things I want my company to be doing is to be organizing those kinds of trips for women, to make women feel safer to travel, especially alone. It's somebody who really inspires me is
Sylvia, I don't know if she's called Sylvia who, she owns Soul Sync Travels Nini on Instagram, and I see her taking people to like South Africa, Singapore, all those places, and I was just like, even me one day I'll be able to do that. So when that first baby girl retreat happened, the first out of town, we've done another one, but the first out of town, when it happened, yani, it was like the vision was coming to life, pole pole. Yeah, so that was Feb. I ended up doing 5 other clients. Feb, I ended up doing 5 clients. Hata sikuamini. I still don't believe it up to date. I was able to like pay my rent, like pay all my bills, as in hata madhe hako have ku chip in at that point. Up to this point, I'm still managing. I'm still managing. Haya. Sasa ikafika tena, I got different clients. I mean, I can't talk to you about all the clients, but it just ilikuwa tu inaenda, as in hadi mimi saa ingine naangaliaga nashindwa, I don't even know how this is working. I didn't only do 1 client, 2 clients, like all these people, they come and they believe in my business and they don't know what they're doing. They're just, can we, and it's not like, it's not been without its challenges. It's not been without its challenges as well. Imekuwa na challenges zake pia. Some people still wamekuja and they've just said something. Some people, they'll come, they'll tell you we are coming, they're not, unajua wacha niende nirudi and they're not actual clients. So it's not without its challenges. It's not been without its challenges, but every day I just wake up and I have something to do. I have a client who's calling, I have an inquiry, and I'm just so blessed because sikuwa najua like I just had a dream that I want more. Nili realize like that could not be my future, working for that company, but I still appreciate them so much because they taught me so much, good and bad. They taught me like all those destinations nini. Mnakumbuka even before when I used to do giveaways za travel back then, like I was just a girl dreaming. Like I was just a girl dreaming. I just always wanted to travel so much. And I wanted to travel because when I was young, my dad went to US. Now he stayed there for 7 years and we just talk. He would tell me about that country, Nini. So I always dreamt of going like different places like Nini. And like it just became such a part of me so much that when I entered this new job in 2022, I started seeing that this is what I have been dreaming about. This is what I had been dreaming about until it got to that place where I was like, okay, so is this it? If my life doesn't change, am I happy with this? And the answer was no. I can't live like that forever. It was not sustainable for me. Like, cause me, I want to be a mom in future. I want to have children and I want to be like a career woman, and I also want to be a present mom, and it's very hard to do that when you're in employment. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I think. It's very hard to do both things. But if I'm a CEO of a company, at least I'll be able to manage my hours. That's how I've thought about it. So one of the things pia zenye nilikuwa nataka ni to be able to manage my hours. So ikifika ile point when I get into motherhood, at least I'll be able to, like split my time between having time for my children and my family and also having my career or my company still running. So there was so many reasons why I had to quit that job. Some of those reasons were good, some of them were bad, some of them were selfish. But right now I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side of fear. That's what I like to think. I'm on the other side of fear because I never fathomed a reality where I don't have a job. And like for such a long time hapo nilikuwa nimeona like I'm jobless. But I wasn't jobless. I was a founder. like as in I just didn't know what to say. Let me now maybe look at my notes nione what I had written. Hata sijui video inafaa iishie at what point. So let me come back to you na nikwambie. I think you need to ask yourself the same question I asked myself. Is this it? If my life doesn't change and this is it, are you okay with it? Are you happy with it? The answers can be two, either yes or no. If it's maybe, it's no. So if it's no, then you need to start thinking about your future. Now we have to redo the makeup. You have to start thinking about your future. Uone kama itakuwa hivyo. Like if where you're working you're happy with it, or how long you'll be happy with it. And maybe you watching this video right now, you're like me in 2024, that it was the best job. It was still my dream job at that point. But in 2025, it started becoming a nightmare. And sometimes this is the reality even in a relationship. When you enter a relationship, it's good, it's good, it's good. And then it starts becoming bad at some point in the way. You need to be brave enough to leave. Living is hard. It's hard. And I'm not telling you your fears will not come alive. They will. You will still think, like, why did I do this? You'll have some moments of thinking maybe you were wrong, maybe you should have stayed nini, but you have to push through. You have even to pour kidogo kidogo like water to your sand yako and just let that seedling grow pole pole. But that moment you realize you're unhappy with something, you have to plan how to exit. You have to plan how to leave. And I did a video in Vlogtober and I told you when to leave. When you watch this video, go back and watch Vlogtober videos and they'll now make sense to you. Yeah, because as in now when I think of it, and I know life will end at some certain point. I don't know, we all don't know when our life will end, but I always thought if life ends, I want to have left something meaningful in this world. And starting my company is one of the most meaningful things I've done so far. And if I'm to die today, I'm happy that I've started something. I've been brave enough to start something. I've been brave enough to fight against the fear. And today, I've been brave enough to talk about it. Yeah. I think this video should end there. We've gone through all the motions, Sasa. We've gone through all the motions. So, well, all that matters, I guess, is always just put in quality input. We can't control the output, but if you put in quality inputs every day in whatever it is that you want to work on, you have a higher chance of getting a good output. If you do nothing, you get nothing. Yeah, and that's it. Meredith Grace says this: decide if this is the life you want to live. Is this the person you want to become? Is this the best that you can be? Can you be stronger? Can you be kinder? Can you be more compassionate? Can you be more hardworking? Can you do more with your life? And if you think you can, then decide. Breathe in, breathe out, and decide. You're never gonna feel ready. Ready is not a feeling. Up to now, I don't feel ready, but you have to pull the trigger, you have to rip the band-aid off, and you have to step into the next version of yourself. So welcome to my next version. Please follow me on Instagram. Well, I don't really care if you follow my personal brand marie.akanga, but I really care if you follow my company, Trailmarks Expeditions. And more than that, I would really want to plan a trip for you. I would want to plan your proposal. I would want to plan your wedding. I would like to show you the world, and I would like you to see the world together with me, because the world is beautiful and we have time, and we have to go out there and see it. We have to go out there and chase our dreams. So let's chase our dreams in heels, of course. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one for sure.